Hello, my friends. We are going to continue with this cycle of presentations, trying to learn the best way to optimize the potential of the reservoir to the well. So when we get all the information after the well has been drilled, we need to know what to do to get the highest or the optimum, which could be the highest potential of that well from the reservoir. So we're going to see what we can do. We're going to see what we can do to the well to get that potential. Normally in companies, a team, a VCD, visualization, conceptualization, definition team, is created to visualize how to drill the well, where to drill it, how we are drilling it, and even after the well has been drilled, we take care of all the actions so that we make sure the potential is accomplished. So here you can see all the disciplines involved, and we can also see the productivity engineers, which is, we are the engineers that are going to stay longer with the well. We're going to live with the well. So everything that is done with this team, everything is going to land. It's going to land here in productivity and production. So we are in charge. We are in charge of all the visualization of the well from the reservoir to the facilities. So even to make sure the fluids are getting on compliances to being delivered. The oil, the gas, and the water. Do not forget the water, which is an important aspect that affects our economy. So sometimes a lot of projects, they fail because water production. So we need to be in charge of everything, including reducing the water. Okay, that with all of the rest of the team. Okay, so what do we have when we drill a well? Let's say we have an exploratory well, an appraisal well, and we already finished the well. So what do we have? What do we have as tools to start visualizing what the actions are to increase the production of that well? So we have drilling reports, we have logs, we have mineralogy, we have petrophysical model, we have swabbing test. And we also have the DST, which is we're going to talk about it in a minute. So what do we do as productivity engineer in that team? Or there are companies where they don't create a team, so it's part of the structure, organizational of the company. So the productivity engineer they are part in the organization, and there is not a team created for the well, but we have meetings, normal meetings with all the rest of the disciplines to decide about the wells. So when we are drilling the well, we as productivity engineer, we should be taking care of everything that is taking place so that we don't get a damaged well. We need to make sure the well is built, constructed the way it was visualized. So we make sure that the drilling fluids are correct, the weight and the slurries, so that we don't get swollen sands in the formation. So we make sure the well is being drilled in a way that we don't get damage. And what is damage? Damage is that huge pressure drop that we get across the well in the wellbore that doesn't allow the well to produce the rate we're expecting. So that's why we need to be in charge of that part of the drilling activities, we don't get this high pressure drop. Okay, here's the damage. We need this damage to be 0, right, when we drill a well. Another thing that we get when we are, like I said, looking for actions to improve our productivity is the petrophysical model. You know, normally in exploratory or appraisal wells, even in development wells, so we get swabbing tests, we get the perspective sands and the petrophysics. After they study the logs and everything, they tell us what permeability we're having, which porosity, what's the net pay, what's the net to gross relationship. So we get all the details about the sands that can be put to production when we put the well in production. Okay, so that's what we get from the petrophysicists. Okay, this is I would say it's a report that they issue, and they normally put the details of the logs, with the resistivities and the porosities and all that is included, the swabbing test, the interval, how they shoot the well, they perforated the sands. So we get a picture of everything that is involved, so that we can have an idea which are the best sands, which one of them produced gas, which one of them has a considerable water cut, and so we know what fluids we have and where are the best sands that can produce the highest rates. Okay. What also do we have? We have a drill stem test, normally run in exploratory and appraisal wells. What is the drill stem test? Is a log that we run in the wells, and where we can get fluid samples, we can get the reservoir pressure, we can get the permeability and the skin present, and we can visualize some estimates in productivity. Okay, how do we do it? The drill stem test, it has some tools. So the first thing we do is we isolate the sand that we need to study. We isolate it, and then with the help of a drill string and packers and testing tools and anchor, we are sure to put this sand to produce. We are ready to open it. So we do it in 4 stages. The first part, we open the well to get rid of the mud that is in front of the formation, and we shut the well after some period of time, and we can extend and see what kind of pressure we have, the energy in the reservoir. Then we shut the well again. We open the well again. We take a sample to see, the sample of the fluids present in the formation, and then we shut it again, and then this final shut of the well, we can see the permeability and the damage. Okay, and finally we look for the sample curves to match them with the real one, and then we can see it's like a build-up, so we can see all the properties. So we are kind of ready to build our inflow performance relationship curve, which is how much the reservoir can put in the well, right? So we start thinking about, when we see those parameters or the results, we start thinking about fracturing, stimulations, adding intervals, maybe deviate the well. We can think about horizontal wells. We can think about fracture. If we have high water cut, we can think about isolating the water. So at the first, when we see all those parameters together, we can start dreaming about the action we're going to take in the well. So we are ready to start simulating, and if we have a PVT, maybe in an appraisal or an exploratory where we will not have it, but we can have a neighbor well somewhere, neighbor field. So we start investigating if we can have a PVT, so that we can precise more our input for the simulations. Okay, so like I said, we normally in exploratory and appraisal well, we are above bubble point, so we use Darcy for the first part of the analysis of the inflow of the IPR, and then after that, if we have gas, or if we want to visualize what happened with the bubble point is accomplished, we can visualize what's the behavior in the inflows of the well when we have gas in the reservoir. And we use Vogel. Vogel, this is the correlation we use to visualize what happens after bubble point. So this is what we have. Okay, so we start thinking about the actions. We are ready to visualize action. I know the exploratory or the appraisal wells are normally vertical or deviated or slanted. So with that information, we start thinking about what happens if I fracture. If I frack the well, what happened was what the difference of rates. And also with the logs, I make sure I don't contact what I don't want to contact, like water sands or gas sands or different reservoirs with different pressures. So we start thinking, we sensitize what happened with the vertical well if we deviate the well and we get a better contact with the sand. What happened? What's the behavior? What happened if I frack that deviated well or slanted well? What happened? So we have a portfolio of actions that we can do to the well to improve, to optimize the production. Okay, horizontal well. Well, if the sands are thick, we can think about a horizontal well, and we can sensitize the length. The length, we can sensitize the length of the navigation, of the well. So we are not sure, because since we don't have many many wells in the reservoir, we don't know the extension and the orientation of the sands. So it's difficult to drill the second well of the reservoir horizontal. But we can visualize or simulate how much we can get if we drill a horizontal well. So radial drilling can help us think about the productivity. If we drill some 1 1/4 holes, 300 feet, we can, like I said, we don't know where we're going, but we can see the productivity. Okay. And so this is if the permeabilities are good, and we navigated the well the right way. If we navigate the well the right way, we can get very good results with drill the well horizontal. So we can also, if we are in front of tight sands, we can also apply the fracking technology, and we can frack a horizontal well. We need to make sure we don't reach sweet water sands, and we don't contaminate the environment, okay, and the social life. Okay, that's it. Next video we'll talk about how to do this in the software. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Thank you.